Hello and welcome to Big Deal. I'm Nisha Poddar. Now on Big Deal today, we will discuss the lead contamination in India, and the corporate world wakes up to its hazards and also weaves in solutions as part of their ESG agenda. Now remember that car batteries are the biggest consumers of lead, and recycling batteries is one of the big causes of lead contamination among some of the other sources of lead exposure in children. Now let's get started with our expert panel to understand this particular issue and the solutions at work currently. Let me welcome on the show Richard Fuller, who's from Pure Earth, Harsha Gourinein, I beg your pardon, from Amara Raja, as well as we have Navin Prakash Sharma from Gravita India. Welcome, gentlemen, to CNBC-TV18. Now, Richard, let me begin with you because Pure Earth has done a lot of study across the globe on the lead emission and even helped countries find solutions. What's the magnitude of lead contamination problem in India?
The level is really extraordinary in India. And I think it's extraordinary for a couple of reasons. One is we thought we'd gotten rid of lead when we took it out of gasoline in 2000, but now we're finding it's here from car batteries, from contaminated spices, from cookware, and in paint as well. So it's like this thing has come back, but the impact, I think, is really extraordinary. And a recent study with CSIR and another study with UNICEF, we find that half of the children in India are currently lead poisoned with elevated blood lead levels. And that means they've got some level of brain damage to their frontal cortexes, which means they have reduced intelligence, and they also have reduced educational outcomes. It's an extraordinary impact.
Right, that's a big one that you're really highlighting, Richard. When it comes to lead contamination in children, 50%, that's a huge number. Harsha, let me bring you into the discussion. As a battery manufacturer, what do you think can be done, and where does India stand at the moment in this respect? What is Amara Raja really doing?
So Nisha, just to set the context, lead-acid batteries are the most recycled products in the world. They're not only fully recyclable, almost 99% is recovered, but the recyclability is also progressively getting enhanced. Now, as manufacturers, we are making sure that we source our lead from certified eco-friendly smelters, and that we are continuing to up our own collections. Our targets are being set both internally, and recently the BWMR rules are also stating over the next few years how those collection targets will scale up. So we will need to ensure that the batteries are coming back to the manufacturer and going through organized channels for safe and effective recycling.
Right, so effective recycling, and that has a large unorganized area. Let me take it to lead manufacturer then, Navin from Gravita. What do you think is being done at the moment, and how big is the unorganized sector where unsafe recycling of batteries is really taking place? You're on mute, Navin.
The battery which are collected from the post-consumer are not getting recycled through formal recyclers, while the battery which are coming from the institutional or industry, they are coming to formal recycling. So as of now, the estimate is that almost 50% recycling in the country is happening either in informal recycling or not with eco-friendly recycling, we can say.
Right. So, Navin, what is the impact on the business if we have to take the cost of compliance to safety standards? And are there standards already put in place by our government?
Yes. See, the compliance starts from the beginning, where as a consumer, we return our old battery to the dealer. So these dealers are placed at millions of places across the country, and these batteries are being drained there itself. So the acid is going to the our rivers or our nala or our landfill. So entire area is getting contaminated. So these battery, until unless these comes to the recycler or to the manufacturer, this problem will not get solved. To overcome this, Ministry of Environment and Forest has already framed certain regulations which were known as DMHR 2001. And of late, during the budget speech of our Honorable Finance Minister, it was mentioned that some of the areas of circular economy will be taken care where we will integrate the informal sector, we'll put technology, we'll put system, we'll create public regulations and guidelines for such recycling. So under the same guidelines, there is one new area, a new regulation has come up on recent month in August 2022, known as Battery Waste Management Rule.
Yes.
And these rules have certain responsibility given to producers, recyclers, and refurbishers. So we hope with the implementation of these rules, there will be control on such type of activities.
Right. Harsha, what do you think about the battery waste management guidelines which have been put out by the government?
I think they're a wonderful step in the right direction. And they're giving collection targets for manufacturers, recovery targets for recyclers. So definitely things are outlined well. I do feel that a few enabling policies need to be included as well in order to make sure that the full effectiveness of the BWMR rules come through. For example, my ecosystem colleague Navin had just mentioned that the dealers are very important in this ecosystem. And unless dealers and bulk customers are mandated and also incentivized to return the batteries to the producers, it'll be really hard for the manufacturer to fulfill his extended producer responsibilities.
Right.
The responsibility without the enabling policy or authority will make it very difficult.
Right. So, Richard, you heard some of the industry people who have their skin in the game. I know you had come to India for a visit. I met you then. And then you met the industry stalwarts of the lead industry as well as the government. What is your sense on the understanding of this issue as well as the actions taken so far?
Yes, I was really heartened to see such a good response from the top levels of the battery recycling industry. And they've responded very, very well. I think one thing that we need to add to the equation, there needs to be a minimum standard for an eco-friendly smelter. Currently, you can get a license and be quite dirty. So that needs to stop as well. But Nisha, the other thing I was really heartened, we had a number of meetings with the government of India at different levels and different institutions, and they were also keen to see some positive action on this. It's still a new issue. The level of exposure, the amount of damage that's being caused is new for everyone, but there was a great, strong pickup to really deal with this.
Right. And also give us a sense, Richard, that, Pure Earth has worked in various geographies across the world. What has been a key good solution model for this kind of an issue, which is akin to India, which can be replicated here?
Yeah, the success in dealing with batteries and making sure they're coming back only to clean recyclers usually means a reverse logistics system is in place. And that means that batteries are delivered at one point of the supply chain at the same time as the scrap batteries, the used batteries, are taken back. So a dealer will get 10 new batteries and deliver back 10 old batteries. And similarly, a consumer will turn their battery in when they're buying a new battery. And that system needs to be in place all the way back up the supply chain with the right kinds of controls and measurements going on in order to ensure that the batteries don't leak out and go into these dirty facilities and backyard facilities.
Right. So Lifeline is also funding who will pay and whether it really makes business economics when it comes to the recycling of battery at a much higher standards of safety, and that needs to be standardized as well. But there are a few more aspects that I will bring up. The ESG aspect, the sustainability aspect of lead industry. Who should take the responsibility and burden of safe recycling, and then who's going to fund the cost? We'll talk about all of that when we return on Big Deal right after this short break. Stay tuned.